Wednesday, December 30th, 2015. Derek Davis here with Rob Vino, sportsbettingtoday.us and Rob Vino Sports. Four games, Rob, on the card today in college football, right in the middle of bowl season. Let's go here with game 255, 256, Wisconsin and Southern Cal. 10:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff from San Diego, California, the Holiday Bowl at Qualcomm Stadium. Southern Cal minus 3.5 and 50.5. And this one, the game opened at Southern Cal minus 3 and 51. To no one's surprise, weather shouldn't be a factor in this one. Might be a little cool for San Diego. High 40s, low 50s. Wind negligible, 2 to 7 miles per hour in San Diego. Rob, Wisconsin comes into this one winners 6 out of their last 7 straight up. Offensively have been really solid other than that loss to Northwestern where they were only able to muster 7 points. And defensively, Wisconsin has been pretty solid this year. Only gave up more than 24 points this year once, and that was to Alabama, Rob, first game of the season. They've had 2 shutouts this year. They held Troy to 3 points, Iowa to 10 points, Purdue to 7, Rutgers to 10. But they haven't faced an offense like Southern Cal's as far as athletes that Southern Cal rolls out year after year. And we see it again this year, Rob. They've scored 55 on Arkansas State, 59 on Idaho, 31 on Stanford the first time, 22 the second time, which was definitely not what they were looking for in the championship game. But 40 in the game before that against UCLA, 38 against Arizona, 42 against Utah. Outside of Alabama, as we mentioned in the very first game, Wisconsin has not seen an offense like this all year long. Rob, I think this game might be a defensive struggle. I can't imagine either one of these two teams really running up and down the field against the other. I'm going to look for a low-scoring game in this one. But, Rob, can Wisconsin keep it within that 3.5?
I think it might be difficult for Wisconsin in this one, Derek. You started to allude to their schedule, and when you take into consideration the fact that they missed every top Big Ten team out of the other division, did not have to play Ohio State, did not have to play Michigan, did not have to play Michigan State. They really got a good draw this year, and which really led to their nice record, this bowl bid, the numbers that they've put up statistically, I think due to the scheduling. You know, heading into this game, the big talk around Wisconsin is the fact that their star running back Corey Clement is going to play in this football game, and there's no doubt Corey Clement's a real good runner. Um, he hasn't played all season long, virtually due to injury. Wisconsin has put the onus of their offensive burden on the right arm of Joel Stave, which anybody who's watched Stave for 3 years, boy, that's a tough road. And the fact that they don't have as good a crew of receivers as they've had in the past doesn't help either. So offensively, it's been a difficult road for this team. But I think, the positive thought process surrounding Wisconsin right now because Clement's going to play might be a little bit premature. It's really not the running backs that haven't performed well for Wisconsin this year. It's the offensive line. And all troubles begin and end with the Wisconsin offensive line, which has been subpar all season long, something we don't see out of the Badgers hardly ever. But they could not run block this year. They could not pass protect. They've been a little bit beat up. There's been numerous issues with this offensive line, and just getting Corey Clement back doesn't suddenly solve all those issues. Case in point here, Derek, would be this. We just rattled off the schedule that Wisconsin has played this season. And again, let me just go over some of the defenses that this team has faced this year. They played Rutgers, a miserable defense. They played Maryland, an absolute miserable defense. They played Hawaii. They played Troy. They played Miami of Ohio. They played the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who haven't been great defensively, although Nebraska's problems were more in the pass defense than the run defense. They played Purdue. Illinois was a decent defense, but really, when you're looking for upper tier, upper echelon defenses that they played, it may begin and end with Northwestern, Iowa, Minnesota, and Alabama, 4 games out of 12. So now we're taking 8 other games. And let's note that the 4 defenses that I just cited right there, under normal Wisconsin years, they would run the football against any one of those 4 teams. This year, against the schedule that they played with 8 what I would call average to below average defenses on their schedule, they averaged 3.8 yards per carry. Unbelievable. A Wisconsin team that averages less than 4 per carry against that type of schedule, it shows you right there. Maybe not having Clement is some of the deal, but that offensive line is the bulk of the deal, and they're going to face a very good USC defensive front 7. If you look at the sack numbers here, when Stave goes back to pass, Joel Stave has been sacked 24 times this year. USC has sacked the quarterback 37 times. It's a pretty good pass rush, too. So you get this combination with the USC defensive line. They can probably hold their own against the Wisconsin running game and likely put some pressure on Joel Stave. We know they should be able to cover Wisconsin's receivers. USC statistically on the defensive side, no great shakes. You know, when you allow 401 yards per game, that's not good. But in modern day college football against the offenses that they play, if you take it like that, not as bad. This team has faced Oregon, UCLA, Stanford twice, California, Arizona, Notre Dame, Arizona State, all high-flying offenses. Arkansas State, one of the better offenses in the nation this year, even though they came from the Sun Belt. So USC certainly has faced teams far more dynamic than Wisconsin. On the offensive side for USC, we know that since the coaching switch, Steve Sarkisian being relieved of his duties, Clay Helton stepping in interim, and then being hired as the new head coach permanently, Clay Helton tried to change USC's look a little bit, went away from the passing game somewhat, more to the running game. If you look at USC's season-end play calling numbers, you find that USC has run the ball 53.7% of the time this year and only thrown it 46.3%. A huge 7.5% gap. A lot of that made up at the end of the year by new head coach Clay Helton. Wisconsin's defensive numbers, really nice looking, probably skewed. USC has had some issues with their star wide receiver, Juju Schuster-Smith, who has had injury problems, but in this contest, ready to go. I think that poses some problem for Wisconsin as well. There's a lot of places here where I think you could lean on USC as the better team and having distinct advantages. So with Smith-Schuster healthy, ready to take on Wisconsin cornerbacks, I think that opens things up for other USC receivers in this one. Backs out of the backfield that become a big part of the offense as well. Kind of like USC here, minus the low number. The game is played in Southern California. Wisconsin will travel well, but USC is close to home. They should travel well. I think they'll try and get rid of the sour taste left in their mouth by that final Pac-12 conference championship loss to Stanford. Total here, it could be a little bit low, 50.5. But I'm not sure I'd like to play it either way. I think if I had to play here, USC minus the 3.5 is the way I'd go.